The uncrewed Artemis I test flight will send the Orion spacecraft around the moon, paving the way for future human missions. And this morning we're joined by one of the lead managers responsible for launch readiness at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. And good morning to you. Cliff Lanham is the Senior Vehicle Operations Manager for NASA's Exploration Ground Systems program. So with no humans on board, what are the main objectives of this first mission?
First, thanks for having me. And what we're planning to do is fly an unmanned spacecraft, as you mentioned. And what we'll do is the primary objective will be testing the heat shield for Orion. That's to ensure crew safety when we put crew onto Artemis II. So that's one of the primary objectives. The other objectives would be to test out the SLS Space Launch System rocket systems, the Orion systems, and ensure they function as we expect. Gather all that data, be able to analyze that, and then what all that ultimately does is allow us to get comfortable as an agency and make sure we're good to fly crew on that second mission.
Well, the new rocket, the Space Launch System, builds on NASA's heritage. So how does Artemis differ from the Apollo and Space Shuttle programs?
Well, first, let me just acknowledge what the Apollo generation did. It's tremendous what they did to get us to the moon. But this time, we're going to stay, ultimately. We're not just going to say we did it. We're going to stay. We want to build a lot of scientific discoveries, a lunar economy, a lot of international partnerships, so that ultimately, as we learn at the moon, we'll play that forward to ultimately take us to Mars. But from a hardware standpoint, the Orion spacecraft is more capable than the crew module from the Apollo era. As you might expect, with 50+ years of computer technology playing ahead, the computers are much more powerful. We're using composite materials now on Orion. We got 3D printed parts. Again, there's 50% more room on the crew module for the Artemis program. Also, the rocket itself, 8.8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff for the Space Launch System. Apollo was roughly 7.5 million pounds, so a lot more capability there. So again, advancements in the hardware as well as what the main goal is, which again is to establish a permanent presence on the moon.
Well, Cliff, you've worked in aerospace for 30 years. I can see your passion. Why should everyone here in East Texas pay close attention to what's happening with spaceflight right now?
Well, as you know, with Johnson Space Center there in East Texas, you got the human spaceflight element there. But ultimately, like with Apollo, right, a lot of technologies came out of it. So, that'll help, worldwide. We're building international partnerships. So overall, I think this is a national effort, international effort, quite frankly, and everybody should be excited about this. It's going to ultimately, hopefully, affect everyone in a way that just takes us further out into to Mars, and the exploration aspect should, and we hopefully will take that Artemis generation of children, and inspire them to get into these STEM subjects and become who's going to replace me in the future? Who's going to do that? So we're hoping to inspire that generation.
Well, certainly so many from East Texas will be watching on Monday. Cliff Lanham from Kennedy Space Center this morning. Godspeed and good luck to you and your team next week.
Thank you very much.
Well, the 2-hour launch window for Artemis I opens Monday at 7:33 a.m. our time. We will have special coverage right here on GMET, as well as our streaming channel, East Texas Now, throughout the day on Monday. It is 6:18 here on a Friday. Good morning, East Texas. We'll be right back.